You listen to somebody who has what you want and has been where you are. He studied the richest people on the planet for years. Henry Ford, Firestone, J.P. Morgan, Thomas Edison. He talked to and lived with the wealthiest people and interviewed them, and that's where he came up with the method, one simple technique to become rich. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because you're going to read the book. All right, I'm going to give you the 3 books. If you want to get rich, stay with me.
He's built multi-million-dollar companies. His explosive books on health and wealth have sold over 60 million copies. Now, the Kevin Trudeau Show they don't want you to know.
Welcome, Kevin Trudeau here. Limitless. That's the name of the show John Denny came up with. He said, Kevin, I've known you for 30 plus years, and you are limitless. You are a phoenix who always rises from ashes. When somebody says it's impossible, matter of fact, when 10 people, when 1,000 people, all super intelligent people say something is impossible, you just laugh and say, let me show you. And you make it possible. There's nothing that's ever been impossible to you. What you've accomplished over the last 30, 40 years of your life, he says, is limitless. It really is. And that's where he came up with the name. And I appreciate those comments, John. You and I have been good friends, dear, dear friends for a long, long time. And you are a special guy, especially because you give wonderful compliments like that to me. No, I'm not Donald Trump. I don't need the compliment. I love John even when he's attacking me because I say good things about Trump or RFK. Hey, I say good things about everybody. It doesn't make a difference what political spectrum they are. Hey, today's show, Trey's over there screaming. He says, stop talking. Talk about the subject. John's over there going, talk about the subject. The 3 books you need to read if you want to become rich. That's what the subject is. I got other stuff for you later that I really want to say. All right, I'm going to give you the 3 books. If you want to get rich, stay with me. The 3 books you need to know, that you need to read, and you need to not just read them, but actually apply what's in them, and you can get rich. Every single person watching, regardless of what country you live in, no matter how much debt you're in, no matter how screwed up your situation is, you can get rich. You can make more money than you are now. You can become financially free and financially independent. Every single one of you has what it takes because you were born to win. You were virtually designed for accomplishment. You were engineered for success, and you were endowed with the seeds of greatness. You need to understand you are limitless. So I'm going to give you today's show all about money. And you've heard me say over and over and over again, the number one thing when it comes to success, there's a pattern for success. And if you look at 1,000 people that are ultra successful, and I'm not talking about a guy who makes $100,000 a year or $200,000 a year or $300,000 a year, albeit they've reached a level of success. Most of these people are just broke at a higher level. I'm not talking about a guy who on paper is worth $1 million. That means nothing today. You can't even live on that. You can't survive. You can't retire on that. I mean, you're living in a trailer or a little tiny hovel, or you have to go to Thailand or Costa Rica or some country where the cost of living is nothing. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I'm not judging that. I'm not saying that's bad. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And many of you think, well, listen, I'm going to be retiring on $1 million. Am I a bad person? No, you're a wonderful person. You've probably lived a wonderful life, and there's no problem with that. My point is real money used to be a millionaire. When that was said, he's a millionaire, he's a millionaire, he's a millionaire. In today's dollars, that's a minimum of $100 million. That's what a millionaire was. So a millionaire was somebody in today's money would have $100 million cash in the bank. And I'm talking cash in the bank or in stocks or bonds, paying them interest, earning anywhere from 5 to 10% a year. So think about it. So I want you to imagine that you have $100 million in bonds paying interest, in stocks that pay dividends. That's where your money is. The interest and the dividends pay you $1 million a month. Can you imagine that? That's what a millionaire was. He did not have to work. He didn't have to work and do anything because the money that sat in his account paid him dividends and interest of about $1 million a month. And then he has to pay taxes on that, even call it 50% taxes. Could you live on $500,000 a month net after all deductions? I mean, it might be a struggle, right? And you never have to work, and it's never going to go down. You're going to get that money every month for the rest of your life. And you think, well, I can't even spend that much money. So you reinvest it into more dividends and stocks. So 2 or 3 years down the road, instead of $500,000 a month, it's now $600,000 or $700,000 a month. And you keep reinvesting that, and because you can't spend it. And then 10 years down the road, it's $1 million or $2 million net a month. That's what a millionaire is. And that's why you think, I need to give this money away. Some of you really have no comprehension what financial freedom and financial independence is. Back in the 70s, when I was in the Brotherhood, I understood and was taught residual income. I was taught in order to become financially free and financially independent. And what financially free and financially independent means that the money that you earn is completely independent or separate from your working. You are financially free. You don't have to work for money. You have money working for you. You get money coming in every week, every month, whether you work or not. Your money is working for you instead of you working for money. This is financial freedom, financial independence to varying degrees. And I understood residual income, and I understood interest, and I understood dividends. And I understood that wealthy people purchase assets which pay them money, and stupid, dumb, broke people take their money and they buy things that depreciate or cost them money. They buy a boat. Man, I hit the lottery. I'm going to go buy a boat. You're a moron. You're a dumb, stupid, broke moron who's got the IQ of a handball. Seriously. I mean, that was like the time I was driving down through Georgia. And I have a lot of friends in Georgia, and I like Georgia, and I like the South, and I like people from the South. But in this particular instance, there was a stereotypical situation. I'm driving down 95 in Georgia, and Georgia is known for their pecans. They're very famous. So as I'm driving, there's signs, and it says, get your pecans at the next exit. Well, I don't want any pecans right now, so I keep driving. And then there's, get your pecans next exit. And there's another sign, pecans next exit. Pecans now. Don't forget your pecans. Georgia pecans, the best. Get your pecans. Last chance for pecans. Hurry, get pecans now. I'm like, God, I got to get me some pecans. Advertising works, by the way. So I pull off the exit, and there's a sign there, little stand. It says pecans. So I walk up to the guy and I go, I think I'll have a bag of these pecans. And the guy says, pecan? What the hell is that? Something you piss in? You mean pecan. Oh, thank you very much, fireworks stand attendant with no teeth and the IQ of a handball. Try to tell me how to pronounce the word. The South was great. So I asked this guy for directions, and he says, well, you go down the road a piece where Judge Miller's farm used to be. Oh, yeah, I know where that is. Yeah, you turn right there, and you'll see a cross burn, and you just know where that is, and you just take a left right there. You'll be all right. Anyway, rich people, by appreciating assets that earn them money, broke people spend their money on depreciating things that go down in value instead of up in value and cost them money. So they buy a boat. So the moment you buy a boat, the boat value starts depreciating, starts going down, and it costs you money to operate. That's what broke people do. Rich people buy a piece of fine art, and the fine art appreciates. It goes up in value. It doesn't cost anything to own. That's the difference. An appreciating asset that makes you money, or a rich person will buy stocks that pay dividends. That means they're buying something of value. It's going up in value because the stock value goes up, and the stock pays you dividends every quarter. That's what a rich person does with his money. Until he is financially free and independent, then he takes his money that he's earning from his interest and dividends, and that's when he buys a boat. You see, that's what the difference is. A rich person understands delayed gratification. So rich people think differently than broke people. This is very critical. Now, I'm going to tell you the 3 books you need to read. There's information in the books you need to do. But here's the interesting, bizarre thing. John Denny, who I love, and Trey over there, they got some researchers and they went online and they started using AI, and they got professional researchers to say, listen, Kevin knows a lot, but let's help him. Let's give him some information. We're going to do a show on the 3 books. Here's the title, by the way. This is the research. This is the research that they sent me. And I read it last night and I laughed. So it says the 3 books you must read to become rich. All right. So who wrote this? AI. AI isn't rich. Or 3 researchers who do a great job, but none of them are rich. So how could they make a recommendation on the 3 books to read to get rich when they're not rich? So why don't we ask a rich person? And again, by definition, a rich person, somebody who's rich, has at least $100 million. So let's ask some rich people, which I started making some phone calls to some of my billionaire buddies, guys who have $100 million, and said, hey, if there was 3 books you'd recommend somebody just starting off to read that can help them get rich, what would it be? And I got different books. None of which are on this list, by the way, that the researchers gave me. So I'll give you the ones that the researchers gave me, by the way. The Intelligent Investor. I'm sure it's a nice book. They did put down Think and Grow Rich, which is a good book. The Millionaire Next Door. Nice little book. Millionaire Next Door was written by a guy who doesn't have any money. The Intelligent Investor is written by a guy who doesn't have any money. The 4-Hour Work Week. Tim, I've interviewed Tim on my show. He's a great guy, but he ain't rich. Principles, Life and Work. That guy's not rich. The guy who wrote that. So all these books are written by people who ain't rich. Oh, let's go back to the first step if you want to become successful, which I teach in Your Wish is Your Command, and that is, who do you listen to? You listen to somebody who has what you want and has been where you are. That's who you listen to. So you don't listen to any of these idiots. You don't listen to the guys who put together the research, nor do you listen to the guys who wrote these books. Somebody who has what you want and has been where you are. And I'll give you another little thing if you want to listen to somebody. Listen to somebody who's had massive adversity in their life and has overcome it, because that's where the rubber meets the road. You tell the character of a person by how they deal with adversity. That's when character comes out. That's when it really shines through. It's easy when everything's going well to be positive. I had a very wealthy friend of mine make the beautiful statement. He said, Kevin, everything I know at the top, I've learned at the bottom. Think about that. When you are going through adversity, that's when you can learn lessons. So if you're going to listen to somebody who has what you want, wealth, money, so forth. Somebody who's been where you are, which is broke, starting off with nothing, from a poor family. And somebody who's gone through major adversity and has overcome. You want to learn from somebody who is a winner. And winners don't always win. But winners ultimately win, because they understand it ain't over until I win. Vince Lombardi, the great football coach of the world champion Green Bay Packers, made the great statement. He said, show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser. He says winners hate losing. They are sore losers. They are bad losers. They hate losing. General George S. Patton, in his famous speech, said, Americans love to win and detest losing. That was a different era. Today we give participation awards. Oh, you came in last. Well, here's a trophy because we want you to feel good about being a loser. So here's a trophy. We don't want you to cry. No, we don't want you to feel like next time I'm going to win. We don't want you to be motivated. We don't want you to be jealous of the winner. We don't want you to try harder. We want you to just feel good no matter what you did. Sure, you don't have to succeed. You don't have to practice. You don't have to stay in shape. You can eat ice cream all night. You can become a fat pig. You can not go to practice. You can not work hard. You can get into the game, look like a disgusting, ridiculous fool, drop the ball, can't run because you're out of shape because you didn't put forth the effort, and you come in dead last, but you still get a trophy. And now you're going to think, hey, let's do it again next year. I get a trophy no matter what I do. Instead of thinking, next year, I'm going to work harder. Blaine Aythorne told a great story at one of our gin events about how he was in high school and he tried to make the football team and he didn't. And he was pissed and he was embarrassed because he wasn't in shape. And he said, next year, I'm making that damn football team. And he said he would run up hills, he would work out, he got a paper out with extra weight on him. So he was doing everything until the next season. And in the next season, when he did the tryouts, he was running faster than everybody else. He was stronger than everybody else. And he not only made the team, but he became a starter. You see, it's good to lose sometimes because it motivates you. And that's where you tell, how did that person overcome adversity? So what are the 3 books that you should read if you want to become successful? Well, it's hard to pin down 3, but I'm going to give you 3. The first book, in my opinion, is a book called, and it's actually on this list, which was a big surprise, but I guarantee the person who wrote this didn't read it. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. The Richest Man in Babylon is a short little book that you've never heard of, and it is a myth. And you know, if you've ever listened to me before, I hate parables and myths like The Alchemist or The Celestine Prophecy. They're nice books to read, but they're fantasy. And I hate books that are fantasy because they're not real, it's not true, and it gives you a false sense of what you should do, because if it was true, they could find a real life example of somebody applying this. The Richest Man in Babylon is one of those rare books that I do like The Alchemist. The Richest Man in Babylon tells a mythical story in ancient Babylon about a man who was poor and became the richest man in Babylon. And he used one technique, one simple technique to become rich. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because you've got to read the book. But it is a spectacular book. It's a simple book. And I'm going to give you, by the way, just two simple things to do today. I'm going to give them to you. That if you do them, you will become financially free and financially independent. It is not hard. Actually, I'm going to give you 3. 3 things that all rich people do. So the first book is The Richest Man in Babylon. The next book I would encourage you to read is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I know Robert. I don't know him well. I remember I was in Australia, in Sydney. I was on my business partner's yacht. He had the largest yacht in Sydney Harbor, had a helicopter on it. And we were 50-50 partners in a business venture there that did around $300 million in business in 2 years. We both made a lot of money. This was around 2000, 2001. And I was in his yacht. He was the second richest guy in Australia. The first richest guy was Kerry Packer, who I also knew. We weren't business partners, but we did fly to Vegas together to play Baccarat, which that's another story I'll tell you. So I was on this yacht, and I was in the hot tub with Andrew Melcher, who's in the UK. He has a new company that he started, very successful guy. He was the fellow that came to me and I hired him. He became president of the Golf Channel and launched the Golf Channel and Shop America in the UK and UTV and 3 TV networks with me. And then he ventured off on his own, started his own company, did hundreds of millions of dollars in business in that, and now has a brand new company started. He's a very successful guy. Great friend, good guy. So Renee Rifkin's it's his yacht, Renee Rifkin. So we're in the hot tub. He's smoking a cigar. I'm smoking a cigar. And Andrew's there inhaling Renee and my smoke from our cigars. He didn't have to smoke a cigar. He could just inhale the smoke. So we're on the top of the yacht in the hot tub. And Renee's got his cell phone there. This is when cell phones were first coming out. I didn't even have one. Renee gave me one. He says, "No, I need you to have a cell phone." So I gave my number out to everybody and told my secretaries, if anybody calls me at the office, you can have them call me, depending on who he is. So I'm in the hot tub and my cell phone rings. And who the hell's calling me? I'm in Australia. So I pick up the phone and it's Robert Kiyosaki. And I said, "Man, how you doing?" So we start talking and I said, "I'm in Australia right now." And he says, "Australia? Where?" And I said, "I'm in Sydney." He says, "There's a guy, an investor down there that I've always wanted to meet and talk to. Guy named Renee Rifkin. I don't know if you ever heard of him before." And I says, "Heard of him? Well, I'm on his yacht right now in the hot tub with him. He's right next to me here. Hold on." So I hand the phone to Renee and go, "Hello." And then Robert Kiyosaki starts talking to Renee. So Robert Kiyosaki's book is called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And the reason I like the book is it gives you, the first book I mentioned, The Richest Man in Babylon, tells you one simple secret, which I'm going to tell you what it is at the end of the show here, very briefly. And Robert Kiyosaki tells you some basic fundamentals about when you're first starting off, you don't buy things that cost money and go down in value. You spend your extra money and you buy things that go up in value and don't cost you any money. That's what you have to do if you want to become financially independent. That's called planting seeds. If you want to get a harvest in the fall, come the spring, you have to plant seed into the soil. If you don't plant any seed in the spring, when the fall comes, you're not going to have any crops. Does that make sense? If you go up to a wood burning stove, you can't get any heat out of that unless you put wood in first. Does that make sense? If you go to your bank and say, "How much interest have I earned?" And the bank says, "Interest?" You don't have any money in this bank. You have to put money in the bank first before the bank can pay you interest. That's how it works in life. If you want to become financially free and independent 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, "Oh, that's a long time. I thought I was going to get rich tomorrow." Kevin, you're suggesting that I'm going to have to wait 2 or 5 years for financial freedom? Tell you what, why don't you get a job and work for 50 years, then retire? Are you financially free? No, you retire broke. "But Kevin, if I do what you say, it'll take 5 years. Okay, and if you don't do what I say, what's going to happen? "But Kevin, do you know how old I'll be in 5 years? Well, if you don't do this, how old are you going to be in 5 years? The same. Smarten up. Stop whining, bitching, and complaining. Be a man. Be a woman. Step up. Come on. Stand up. Show some backbone. Or just stay a loser. I don't care. It doesn't affect my life. So Robert Kiyosaki says, spend money, and he doesn't say the word spend. It's take your money, and instead of spending it, you have to put it into assets that go up in value and pay you money. And he gives, and the way he explains it, it will sell you on this. Just like the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, will sell you on that technique as well. They both work together, 100%. 100%, 100%, 100%. Those give you the basic how-to when it comes to making money. if you want to become wealthy. But remember, there's a scale. On one side is the technique or the methods, and the other side is the thinking or the attitude. So you need to have the right mentality. You have to be vibrating the right way if you want to make the methods actually work. So I am going to recommend Your Wish is Your Command as the third book. Oh, wait a minute. The book isn't out yet. So you're going to have to listen to the audios. So go to yourwishisyourcommand.com and get the audios. Yourwishisyourcommand.com, get the audios. Next year, the book will be out because that's going to explain to you the correct mindset. Okay. I'll give you a bonus book since Your Wish is Your Command is not a book yet. That's really an audio series now. The bonus book is simply Think and Grow Rich. It will explain a simple method. It's a little bit difficult to read, but the concepts in there are the absolute 100% fundamentals for making wealth. Bruce Lee used that book, and virtually dozens of the most successful celebrities back in the 60s and 70s said that they read that book, and it was the catalyst. It was the reason for their success because they applied the principles. Bruce Lee actually wrote out exactly as Napoleon Hill suggested in the book Think and Grow Rich, how to put together his goal by saying, this is what I want and this is what I'm willing to give in order to get. And he wrote it in present time. It's just awesome to see it. It really works. Absolutely works. So those are the three books that I would recommend that you read if you want to make wealth. I have a recommended reading list of other books such as The Magic of Believing, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Ask and It Is Given, The Magic of Thinking Big, The Science of Getting Rich. There's a lot of good books. How to have power and confidence, and how to have confidence and power in dealing with people by Les Giblin, because people skills are critical to making money. There's a lot of good books, and they're on my recommended reading list. Most of them are what I would call classics because they're a little older. And the reason is, even though I read lots of modern day books, they're all crap because they're written by people who aren't studying wealthy people. All they're doing is studying other people's books. Think about that. When Napoleon Hill wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, he didn't read books that other people wrote about success. He studied the richest people on the planet for years. Henry Ford, Firestone, J.P. Morgan, Thomas Edison. He talked to and lived with the wealthiest people and interviewed them, and that's where he came up with the method in Think and Grow Rich. It wasn't his method. It's the method used by the richest people on the planet at the time. Does that make sense? But when you read a book today on success, all the author did was he read a bunch of other books on success and just regurgitated it and put it in the book. And he wrote the book before he ever made a nickel. And he made his money selling the book. When I put together Your Wish is Your Command, I had already done over $2 billion in real business, in real companies all around the world, before I ever gave a lecture or wrote anything on how to become successful or how to manifest goals, dreams, and desires. That's a huge difference. Tony Robbins can't say that. Joe Vitale can't say that. Bob Proctor can't say that. Joe Dispenza can't say that. None of these, and they're all great guys. And they all have good work, by the way. But none of them can just say what I just said. None of them could say, I made $1 billion before I ever gave a speech on motivation or inspiration or how to manifest goals or how to make money. Nobody could ever say that except me. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. I'm just, again, pointing out, you listen to people who have what you want, has been where you are. And don't listen to people who made all their money selling books and tapes and seminars on how to make money when they hadn't made any. And if you're listening to somebody who makes all of his money in the personal development or self-help or that type of field, look, they may know some stuff, but they really know about it. They don't know it. Because if it really worked, they would have went out and became successful first. So think about that. All right, so I'm going to give you 3 steps right here that if you read these books, you'll understand it, which I recommend you do. Number one is you have to pay yourself first. So when you're out earning money, most people say, if you want to become successful, live within your means. That's a lie. If you want to become successful, you have to live below your means. So the step one is you must 100% reduce your expenses. You have to go through all of your stupid subscriptions on all of the streaming services, all the social media, look at everything that's on a subscription and cut it all out. You have to stop wasting money going and buying fast food or Grubhub or food delivery services. You're paying a fortune in delivery fees and other service fees. You are wasting your money. You could be eating better, lose a ton of weight, never be hungry if you just made simple meals at home like I do. And all you need is 2 basic ingredients, rice and beans. The third one is fresh vegetables. And the fourth one is some inexpensive protein, such as chicken, turkey, lamb, beef, salmon, whitefish, cod, simple proteins. And you don't have to be a cook. It's the simplest thing in the world to cook. I'm going to do a show on that. It takes no time, and you can make it. You can make it. Throw it in the pot in the morning. You have it for dinner, and throw it in a casserole. Or you have it for lunch the next day. It is simple to make simple, delicious meals. I mean, super fantastically delicious that take virtually no time and cost about $1.50 for a huge meal. And it's nutritious. It's delicious. It's completely filling. You will lose weight and you will save hundreds of dollars a month, which you can use to get rich and attain financial freedom and independence. So you have to reduce your income. People always say, well, I'm financially struggling. I'm in debt. Will you please tell me the truth? Say, Kevin, I was a moron. I spent money I didn't have. Therefore, I'm screwed and I'm in debt. Stop blaming the credit card companies, the government. If you're in debt, if you have credit card debt, if you can't pay your bills, then you spent money you didn't have. It's your fault, nobody else's. My mom and dad never was in debt. And they used to point out the next door neighbors who had a new car, they had a little fishing boat, they were always getting a house repainted or aluminum siding. And they go, yeah, but they're in so much debt, they're swimming in debt, they can't pay their bills. I goes, what does that mean? And she said, if you can't pay cash for the washer and dryer, that means you can't afford the washer and dryer. So we save up our money, and when we have enough cash to buy it and pay cash for it, we do. What they do is they go and they buy it on terms. They buy it on credit. And they think, well, I'll just make the monthly payments, but then they have to pay interest. And then they buy something else on credit, and then they get over their head because they're spending money they don't have. So step one is when you get your paycheck, you have to take 10% of your paycheck and pay yourself first. That money comes out of your paycheck and it goes into your financial freedom account. And someone says, I can't afford to do that. I won't be able to pay my bills. Okay, sell your house. Get a smaller house. That means you have too many bills. It doesn't mean you need to make more money. It means you're spending money you don't have. This is what rich people do. They're willing to do what the other guys ain't willing to do. And they're willing to sacrifice temporarily. That's what rich people do. That's what people who are super fit do. That's what people who are lean. They're willing to sacrifice temporarily. They understand they're going to practice delayed gratification. That's what you got to do. So number one, you have to take 10% and you say, that is not going to be spent for anything. It's going to go into my financial freedom account. You pay yourself first. That comes out of the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. So that's number one. More on that. I can't give them all the details. It's not a whole wealth creation lecture today, just the broad strokes. Number two, what do you do with that 10%? You invest it and you invest it into stocks that you think will go up and or stocks that will pay a dividend and or cryptocurrency and or real estate and other things that will that you believe will go up in value and or pay you some type of interest or dividend. I can't tell you exactly because every one of your situations are different. I don't know how old you are, plus I'm not a certified financial planner. But it's all going to be based on what your debt load is, how many kids you got, how old you are, what your risk tolerance is, what your earning is, what you already have in investments. There's a lot of details, but that's the bottom line. What's the third thing? The third thing is a combination, and I already touched on it in number one. The third thing is a combination of A, reduce your overheads and make more money. Reducing overheads is simple. Don't tell me you can't do this because I challenge anybody. I've gone over their houses. Somebody said, Kevin, I really can't. I really can't. I can't do it. Kevin, help me. I can't do it. It's so hard. It's just so hard. I can't figure out how to reduce my overhead. Can I come to your house for a day and I'll show you? You want to check? No, I really am. I'm sincere. I am sincere, sir. Please come to my house, sir. I am sincere. I will do what you tell me to do. Okay. I go over to the guy's house. I did this to another gal, single gal. Did it to a couple, two gals that were living together. There were a couple. I went over to their homes. I have a eclectic group of friends, and I said, "Okay, so let me show me. I'm not a certified financial planner. I'm just here as a friend. So show me all your finances." I went through all the numbers, and I said, "This is the simplest thing in the world." We went through and just cut out all these dumb subscription services. That was it. It was a gym membership they hadn't gone to in 2 years. Get rid of that. But I'm going to go. No, you're not. And I goes, let me tell you something. You don't need the gym. I goes, I'm looking at your house. You can do all your exercises right here, and I'm going to show you how to exercise. So I'm going to show you what to do right here, like Jack LaLanne used to do, right in your living room. You don't even need the gym because you're not going to go there anyways. And none of those, you don't, look at you. I goes, you're not a bodybuilder. You don't need the weight training. You can do everything right here. And then if you're actually exercising every single day and then you want to go, fine. But we're cutting it. So we saved thousands and thousands of dollars a year on all this stuff. Then I went through their insurance. I said, let's look at your car insurance, your house. Went through all the insurance. Boom. Saved $1,000 a year just on insurance by changing carriers. We looked at their phone. Boom. Saved $100 a month on the phone. They both had phones. Like, why are you both paying? You should be on a joint plan. And let's go with another one. We looked at Consumer Cellular and Mint. And there was another one. We got the cheapest rate. Bam. Saved over $150 a month just on that. I mean, this was like massive. And I said, now, there's two of you. You live in this 4-bedroom house. I go, you have equity in this house. Sell the house, get into a smaller house, take the money, invest it. Ooh, that was a big pill to swallow. I go, but do you want to become financially free? I go, look, do you love this house? Well, we're very comfortable. That was do you love the house? Is this a house you want to be in for the rest of your life because you love it so much and you've had so many memories here? Well, no, we've only lived in it for 6 years. I go, you don't love the house. I go, get rid of it. And guess what will happen? We're going to go through all the stuff in your house and you're going to sell it. You're going to have a garage sale first. Then you're going to put it up on Etsy and some of the other, Facebook sales groups. And you're going to make thousands of dollars and you're going to invest it. You're not going to spend a penny of it. Their whole financial scene was changed radically. They did what I said. 3 years later, they're saying, Kevin, do you realize we're already earning $10,000 a year on our investments and we don't have to do anything? And this is just the beginning. We're not spending that money. We're reinvesting it. This is like a fun game. It's almost like so much, we get like an adrenaline rush now, like an endorphin fix or serotonin hitting our brain every time we find ways to save money. We're cooking, we're saving money on food, the food's better. And look at us. We both lost weight. We are doing the little exercises in the house. We feel we have more energy because we're eating better. We're saving money. We're not eating junk food. And because we've gotten rid of all these dumb streaming services. We're socializing more with friends. We're spending more time together. We're going for walks. We go bowling now once a week. This is so much fun. We didn't realize life could be this exciting. So you have to cut back on your overhead. You can't expect to get wealthy if you think you're going to live within your means. You have to live below your means. And number two, or A and B, this is number three. So the third step is A, cut back on your overheads, and B, increase your income. Everybody can do Uber, or you can become a Grubhub delivery person or a DoorDash delivery or an Instacart delivery person. You can make some money doing that part-time in between your job and use that money and don't spend a nickel of it. Either do it to pay down your high interest credit card debt. That's the first thing you would do. And then secondly, invest it. You can make more money if you look for an at-home telephone sales job. If you do that, you can make part-time $300 to $1,000 a week. Look, it's right there. Oh, you can also become a waiter or waitress at a high-end restaurant or a cocktail waitress where a bunch of guys go to spend money. And ladies, and you can make on a Friday and Saturday night, $300, $400, $500 in tips. And you take that money and you use it 100% to pay down your high interest credit card first, then you use it to invest. This is the only way to become financially free. Just like someone says, how do I lose 25 pounds and look great in a bikini or look great in a swimsuit? Okay, let me tell you how. Come on over and I'm going to wave my magic wand and sprinkle some magic wiffle dust. And then I want you to click your heels together and say, there's no place like home. There's no place. And then magically you will have lost the weight and your body looks beautiful and sexy and amazing. And guys, you have a six-pack abs and you're like Adonis. That's not going to happen. If you want to lose weight and look good in a swimsuit, you're going to have to change your diet and exercise. And it's going to take 6 months. Kevin, do you know how old I'll be 6 months from now? Well, if you don't do it, how old are you going to be 6 months from now? Does this make sense? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. By the way, some people know that I had a major event on Friday. I had to write a check for $725,000 to end my case, and I want you to know that I wrote the check. We barely made it. We just came in. I'm doing all the math this week. I'll give you more information later, but we came in. Thank you so much. Blessings are headed your way. The best is yet to come. Miracle happened. I'm going to write a whole book about this story and how the miracles happened, not just for me, but the number of emails I'm getting from people like you who've given to the fan club and supported me, the miracles that are happening in your lives, the number of emails and letters I'm getting is exponentially going up because your giving and your positive energy and the fact that you've effectively saved me is giving you more blessings than you could ever imagine. And it's just a beautiful thing to see. Remember, I've always said, and it's not me, I've only repeated it. It's not my saying. It's a scriptural saying. It's more blessed to give than to receive. So for those of you who have given, thank you so much. For those of you who are continuing to give, we still have another challenge ahead, which is making the payroll. We may have to lay off a few people because of the tightness of the money. We do what we have to do. Cut back when we have to. But everything in the end will turn out fine. I hope this has been helpful to you. Leave some comments if you liked it. And make sure you share the video with as many people as you can. Like the video. Give a thumbs up. Leave comments. Check out some of our websites that we put up. KevinTrudeau.com and all the other ones. A lot of wonderful things are happening. Until next time, I'm Kevin Trudeau. Remember, you are limitless. See you soon.